Hey guys, this is Angus, and today I'm going to give you a quick recap of all the things that have happened in the Apple special event October 2013. So when Tim Cook was introduced on the stage, he started talking about the iPhone and iOS 7. So of course in iOS he was talking about all the sales, and that's over 200 million devices have been updated in just 5 days. 64% of Apple devices are running iOS 7, and there are over 9 million iPhones that have been sold in the last weekend. Next, they started talking about iTunes Radio, and they're saying that iTunes Radio is more popular than ever. It's got over 20 million listeners, and it's had over 1 billion songs played and listened to, which is actually surprisingly good, considering that iTunes Radio is an exclusive just for iOS devices. So once they started talking about iOS 7, the iPhone and iTunes Radio, they went straight on to the Apple Store. So there is over 1 million apps available on the Apple Store, over 60 billion app downloads, and £13 billion has been paid to the developers of everyone who have been involved in creating apps for iOS 7. After that, they were dying to talk about the iPad, and they're saying that the iPad is one of the most popular products ever in Apple's history. It's sold over 170 million chips, and over 475,000 apps are exclusively available on the Apple Store just for the iPad. After that, they started talking about OS X Mavericks, and surprisingly they are releasing it today for free for all users, so that doesn't matter what you're using. If you're running anything newer than model which was produced after 2007, then you can get OS X Mavericks for free, which is absolutely brilliant, because I think they want every single device to run it, and I believe that's a really good solution. So of course when I talk about OS X Mavericks, they were showing loads of demos, so for Safari, iPhotos, and loads of stuff like that. Apple are claiming that there are over 200 features available on OS X Mavericks, and many big new features like iBooks and improved multiple display support, and also iCloud keychain, and also of course things like maps, and you can, for example, quick reply and lock on screen notifications, auto updating apps. Next, they went on to talking about the new MacBook Pro. So they've released a new model, which is the 13-inch MacBook Pro with Retina display. So it's got better battery life, Thunderbolt 2, and of course it's got things like AC 820.11 Wi-Fi, and 9 hours battery on a single charge. So the new October 2013 MacBook Pro will be shipping for $1,299, and of course that's going to include Apple OS X Mavericks. Obviously they won't go into just release a 13-inch MacBook Pro, they also released a 15-inch MacBook Pro, which includes the Intel Crystalwell 4th generation core processors. Included that you get all the other features which you can find on the new 13-inch MacBook Pro, which means you get better battery life, new graphics, and of course a better CPU and a lot more power, and even more better, it's cheaper. It's now $1,999. After that, they started talking about the new MacBook Pro. So they did give a hint at the earlier WWDC, and Apple gave a new hint of it in the iPad event. So the base will be starting at $2,999, and it will include all the latest specs which you can expect to find. So you've got the features like 4K support, 6, 8 and 12 core options as well. Once Apple finished talking about the new Mac Pro, they started talking about iLife. So even though it's currently available on OS X Mavericks and later versions, it will also be available now on iOS. Apple was showing loads of features, like in iMovie for OS X, it now includes a new design and support for editing speed at 120 frames a second, which obviously is brilliant if you have an iPhone 5S. One of the coolest features was definitely GarageBand. They've really updated this and it looks absolutely fantastic. So in iOS it now supports 16 tracks on all devices, and on the 64-bit iPhone 5S it supports up to 32 tracks. So included with iLife you've got iWork, and that's exactly what they started talking about. So that includes iWork with iOS and iCloud. So they're now saying that they haven't received any updates since 2009, so they thought they would give this an update, and it will now be available for all Macs. The biggest launch that Apple has made this year definitely had to be the new iPad Air. So there's loads of new features. So it's 20% thinner. It's now £1 where it used to be £1.5, and they've also changed the design, so the bezel is smaller. So the old iPad used to be 9.4mm, where the new iPad Air is 7.5mm. Another feature that Apple are claiming about the new iPad Air is that it has new Wi-Fi technology and new antennas, so that means you get twice the speed, and they're also expanding the LTE coverage with more carriers across the world. On top of that, you've got a 5-megapixel camera with HD video, improved FaceTime camera on the front, and dual microphones for improved capture, and of course that will be for things like Siri as well. So the new iPad Air will be shipping in two completely different colours. The first colour is silver, and then the other colour is space grey, and they'll be both shipping from $399. After the iPad Air, they started talking about the new iPad mini, which will be supporting a Retina display. Now I can definitely tell that loads of people will be absolutely chuffed about this. Now of course the iPad mini didn't have a Retina display since the 9.7-inch one did, and now they've fully released one in this, which is absolutely brilliant. Now for some reason what they've done with the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 4S, they've discontinued the iPad 4th generation and 3rd generation, so they're now selling the iPad 2 and the iPad Air. At the end they started talking about all the overall things that have happened, and then they ended it. So that was basically all the stuff and the over recap of what Apple revealed at the Apple Special Event 2013 in October. If you did enjoy it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.